Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about the problem I have with all the newer Evil Dead movies. So I just saw Evil Dead Burn, and I don't hate it, but I also don't love it at the same time. No, this isn't a review for that movie. I might put it up a few days from now, or I might wait till October. I just really don't know. But anyways, I'm just here to talk about the newer movies, the three newer movies. And so, oh, what's wrong with my throat? Anyway, so Evil Dead Burn. Not horrible, not great. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? There are elements I like, there are some things I don't, and there are some things that confuse me. And then there are some things I thought was visually like, wow, look at that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm starting to have a huge disconnect with all these newer movies. If you've ever seen any of my Evil Dead reviews, then you know I love the first two movies. I love the television show. I've never reviewed the third movie of the original trilogy because it was just way too campy for me. It was just an action comedy, and I was not feeling that. I like the one-liners and stuff, but I was not feeling that movie. And so, but going with the 2013 movie, the Rise movie, and now this movie, I've never been like the biggest fan, you know what I'm saying? And I know it's blasphemy if you don't like the what's it called? Army of Darkness movie. And apparently now it's blasphemy if you don't like the 2013 soft reboot, remake, or whatever the heck recall it is. I don't care. I don't like that movie. I don't like the fact that it tried way too hard to be like the original and then change stuff. Like, yeah, I get it. Yeah, change stuff. I just didn't like how I'm watching. I'm just like, oh, that reminds me of the original movie, but the original movie did it better, and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. There was a style to the older movies and the show. It had a certain flavor to it. You know what I'm saying? It made you rethink horror and everything. And that's just something I'm not getting with these newer movies. And so I'm going to break it down as to what it is that's just caused me to be disconnected with it. So, one of the things that is causing me to just feel kind of like, I don't know, not really into this new franchise, which I don't know. It feels like they're trying to connect every movie together. And I don't want that. I want the original ones to be the original ones that have its own continuity. And then these things have its own, which, okay, you should know this by now. The Burn movie and Rise movie are direct, continuity with each other. One takes place directly after the other, even though some things in Burn don't make sense as to what we saw in Rise. Now, as for the 2013 one, that's a little bit tougher. Is it a standalone movie? Is it connected to the original movies? Or is it somehow connected to these movies? It's a bit of a stretch, but I do believe the 2013 movie is part of this newer franchise and everything. Like, I'm getting that feeling because of two reasons. And one of that reason is because of the professor and everything, right? With the professor, we know the professor all the way back from the original movies. We heard his voice in the first movie, then we saw a glimpse of him in the second, and he's been referenced ever since those older stuff, you know what I'm saying? But in the new ones, I believe there was a professor voice in the recordings, in the first 2013 movie. Then it was a recording of the priest's voice in The Rise. But now we know for a fact a professor. I think it might be what's his name, Nobi or something like that. It might be him. So if it is, then this has to connect to 2013. Not only that, but so here's something that's been bugging me about this new franchise, right? This cult. The original movies never truly had a cult. Yes, they had kind of like disciples and stuff, like Ruby and her disciples and stuff like that. This order of kind of like warrior knights that opposed them in the television show. Never was there a cult in any of the older movies, but starting with the 2013 movie, one of the things that pissed me off was that they started off with this cult and they never did nothing with it in 2013. And that's just been bugging the crap out of me. Then in Rise, we get like these zealot priests and everything. And so, what the heck is the deal with them? Are they part of that cult from like the 2013 or what? You know what I'm saying? And then in Burn, the circle of the wise men are mentioned, and they are a cult that have been studying like the Book of the Dead and all this other crap. And I think they might be disciples of them and stuff like that. So I'm like, hold up, if this is a cult and they had those zealot priests, then this could very well connect to 2013 because they had that cult and they never explained nothing. And this is something that's been bugging the piss out of me. 3 movies now, and they've never truly went in detail about this cult. Why bring them up if you're not gonna further explain them? Now, Evil Dead Wrath, which is coming out 3 years from now, or 2 years from now, is gonna be a prequel. So maybe and hopefully we'll get to see the professor, and hopefully we'll get to see this cult. But just like with television shows, every time a television show is established and they introduce a cult, it gets canceled. Like, so many shows have done that and they've all gotten canceled. So this is one of my gripes about like the newer installment is like this cult religious zealot people. Explain the freak nuts out of them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just don't like put them in there, but like don't explain them. Another problem I'm having with this is that all these newer movies all have different writers and directors, and they each bring their own flavor and style to the franchise, which is great when it comes to like, you know, franchises and stuff like that. But they're all different and they write differently and they feel differently. And when you have especially 2 movies that are directly connected and everything, but yet they feel like 2 completely different movies, then it doesn't feel like it's in the same franchise. The good benefit of like the original ones is that Sam Raimi was leading the way, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was a big, like, you know, front and center type person when it came to that of the original franchise and stuff. So his vision, his style was always there, you know what I'm saying? And even though, yes, the first 2 movies are very confusing because, like, the second movie is technically the first movie just redone, but slightly different. And that's because of a whole rights issue. And, like, you know, I think a different studio took it over. So they're like, all right, look, we're going to need you to redo this movie, but make it different and blah, 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 blah. And so, but it gets confusing because then, you know, you watch the television show and they connect everything. I'm just like, you're confusing me and everything. But for the most part, it has his signature on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that's Sam Raimi type style. Sam Raimi is a true visual artist and everything and storyteller. This is a man that will take a scene, build like a stage prop and stage setting and everything, but have like a fake night sky, whether you have the budget or not. The man will do that, you know what I'm saying? Because he's visually painting his own style of how he wants this movie to look through that of visuals and props and stuff like that. These newer directors, they bring their CGI type, like, signature and their blend like settings and stuff and color palettes and filters, but it's not the same way as what Sam Raimi did. Yes, there were times they were really outside, and yes, there were times they was on a sound stage, or they built a little sound stage outside or whatever. They had fake trees that moved around and stuff like that. But like Sam, you knew it was a Sam Raimi movie when you watched it, and you knew for a fact no matter what they was all connected. I watched these movies, and I'm just kind of like, are they all different movies or something? Like, are they like anthologies? Is it like they're in a different universe? Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Especially 2013, that looks very different from that of Rise and Burn. The dude who did Burn basically tried to incorporate so many elements from Rise, but also gave it his own bland color palette like style that was very blah and everything. Another thing that that's not really hitting with me is just the dirty language, you know what I'm saying? The Deadites are some of the most foul-mouthed people you'll ever meet. And yes, they still say disturbing stuff in these newer movies, but nothing like they did in the older movies. They were very perverse and everything, you know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like The Exorcist or something like that. They will just say whatever, you know what I'm saying? I am missing a little bit of the humor. I don't want full on humor like the television show or Army of Darkness or nothing like that. But a little bit more levity would help. That's the one good thing about Burn. The grandmother had dementia, so she brought out some of those comedic elements. And for the most part, that was just like fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to do it no more than that. Because we're not in the 80s no more. Like, this is the 2020s and stuff. So if you went full on slap humor, you're gonna feel like the MCU. Now here's one of my biggest gripes right here. The Deadites. I started with Ash versus the Evil Dead. And then I worked my way to the original movies and stuff. And I was blown away by that first movie that disturbed people all the way back in the day. Deadites used to look horrifying. They was disturbing looking. They were monstrous. These are all the ones on the left from the original series and stuff, or franchise and movies and stuff. They just look like something you ain't never seen before. That was the fun of like the 80s, and it trickled over into the 90s and then the 2000 something series. When I look at these newer movies and their Deadites, I'm all like, this looks like another generic, ghoulish type American movie. They're basically just have human faces. Their skin has been painted gray. They have some slime on them, like sweat or whatever. Sometimes their eyes might be discolored. Sometimes their face might be a little distorted a little bit. But they look normal. They look bland. They look uninspired. And I don't want to see human looking demons, you know what I'm saying? I want to see somebody possessed. Like, you can't go walking down the street without knowing something's up with this person, you know? And that is the fun that has been taken out of this franchise. They look generic, they look like ghouls, and they look like something somebody can do on a television show. Another thing is about like the whole Book of the Dead thing is like they don't just possess people. Like there are other type of things they can possess. A tree or an inanimate object like a car or like an animal head or a couch or a severed hand. You don't really get that in the newer franchises and stuff. I don't remember what happened in 2013. Yes, they did possess the tree and everything. But that was because they were trying to be like the original. But ever since like Burn and Rise and stuff, you don't really see nothing getting possessed. Maybe the what was that thing? The elevator, the blood and stuff, but that's about it. But you don't see nothing else that's not living get possessed, you know? Because you gotta think about it. This whole Book of the Dead thing, like it's unstoppable. It will possess anything around you. Like you are not safe. Another thing that I am glad that these newer movies are incorporating is the Book of the Dead itself. However, all three look completely different, especially the last two. So if these things are supposed to be connected, why do they look different for? And I remember in Army of Darkness, yes, they did have different books. But I think they were supposed to be like fake books, and he was supposed to pick the right one or something like that. But not only do all the books look different, because you got like I'm not in front of a computer, so I can't really see. But 2013 kind of looks like an ordinary book that's been stitched together. Like oh, it's flesh, okay. Because that's how the original one was. But then you get the Rise one, and it's just veins on the book, and the binder is teeth. Okay, that remind me of that book in the Harry Potter and stuff, the third movie. But then you get to Burn, and it just looks like a regular book with a strap that holds it together. And I'm just kind of like, well, isn't these two movies directly supposed to be connected? And why the heck does the book look different and everything? But I am glad they are incorporating that. Now, the older design of like the Book of Dead, now that was something. It had a face, it had these wrinkles. Like, it was just terrifying looking. It had gumption to it, it had a face. It's so much more striking than what the heck ever these newer designs are. And I miss that. I miss that, like, uniqueness. You know what I'm saying? The dagger is something that's been bugging the crap out of me and other fans to where they finally now put it in Burn. But the way the dagger looks, like you gotta be kidding me. Because they trolled us with having a dagger that looks like the one they did kind of like in the second movie. But that wasn't the real one. The real dagger is just on like a wooden handle and a teeny tiny blade that look like it's been broken off and binding with rope. That's not impressive. That's not cool. That's not like a signature hero weapon or anything like that. It just looks like a stupid little whatchamacallem thing. And when you look at the older ones, they're so much cooler. The other ones had like bone handles and like skulls and all kind of really neat design. And the one in the television show just looked like a blade. And I can't find a picture of the one from the first movie, so. But these things look really cool, you know what I'm saying? And now they have this ordinary looking one. And why the world did it take so long for them to introduce the Kadarian dagger and everything, Like you think that would have been like brought up a heck of a lot sooner, but they're taking their time. But what are they taking their time to? Especially if the fourth movie is supposed to be a prequel. And last but not least, the one thing that's causing me to be so disconnected in this franchise is that there's no central protagonist. There's no real true hero who's going from movie to movie and stuff like that. In the original, like, duh, is Ashley J. Williams and everything. Like, it's Ash, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was the unexpected hero. Like, he was just a regular dude and was the sole survivor in the first movie. But then by the second movie, the writing got to the point where he's the chosen one and everything. But you don't find that out until the end when he looks inside the book and sees a drawing of himself and goes back in time. Then from that in the television show, he is our main hero. He is the one who's supposed to save us from like evil and everything, you know? And people always love looking up the heroes and stuff. But now in the newer movies, we have three adult soul survivors and they never appear in the next installment. You got, I think, what's her name, Maya from 2013. I thought for sure she was gonna be the new Ash and everything. Lost her arm, you know, she was kicking butt with a chainsaw, you know, and then they came out with Rise, and it's like, well, where is she at? And now it's like the sister and everything, and she's the sole survivor. So then the new movie come out, and since that was directly connected to Rise, I thought for sure we'll see the sister, but no, now we got a brand new character and stuff. They've never interacted with each other, and with the last girl, she might have been possessed at the end. I'm not 100% sure, but Ash has been possessed, and with the power of love, broke him out of it because his willpower was strong enough. But it's just kind of like, you know, it's like every new movie has like a brand new survivor. And since the fourth one's going to be a prequel, none of these people are going to show up being that sole survivor to kick some butt. And so this is what makes me feel like every movie is set in its own universe and everything. It feels more like an anthology, which is like fine, whatever. But you're gonna do the like anthology route, which, you know, each movie has a different book. Then make the Deadites different, you know what I'm saying? At least now in Burn, they have changed somewhat the mythology of these Deadites and how they can come back to life. And but it's supposed to be connected to the other one. So is this like, you know, an actual new franchise? Are they set in different dimensions? Like, you know, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, establish your rules and then stick to them. And so yeah, I'm just missing that hero aspect. Like, yeah, we got a soul survivor and all that, but when they don't show up for no new installment, then it's just kind of like, what the heck is the point? And not only that, but when they do, if they eventually show up, I need them to have a personality and stuff, you know? Ash has a very unique style personality. He doesn't care about much stuff. Like, he likes to get like drunk and high. He could care. He's lazy. He's selfish. He's a pig. But he will kick some butt because he's the only one who can stop evil. So he puts all that aside and he whoops some behind, you know what I'm saying? And so he's hilarious and stuff. And he has an attitude, like, you know. But with them, I don't remember Maya because she was a drug addict. The sister was kind of like the screw up, I guess. And the other one's in like an abusive relationship. And so they all have three distinct personalities. And it's just kind of like whatever, you know what I'm saying? So that's my gripe and everything, you know? It's just every time I watch a brand new like Evil Dead movie, I'm just not thrilled. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like jumping for joy. I'm not going jizzy popping and everything. It's just like I watch it and I'm just like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all right, I guess. But it's just like I know it can be a heck of a lot more funner, but they're just not going there and stuff. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.